That breakfast cereal you poured for your kids this morning? According to the American Heart Association, it might contain more added sugar in one serving than children should consume in an entire day. And it's not just cereal. Walk through any grocery store and you'll find foods that doctors who understand nutrition science won't touch. Not because they're banned or recalled, but because the research on what these foods do to your body over time is too clear to ignore. According to a landmark NIH study on ultra-processed foods, researchers found that people who ate heavily processed foods consumed an average 500 more calories per day and gained weight, even when the processed meals were matched for calories, sugar, fat, and fiber with unprocessed meat. That's not willpower, that's food engineering. And here's what makes this dangerous. The foods that doctors specifically avoid are the ones marketed most aggressively to families, positioned as convenient solutions, and engineered to be so hyper-palatable that your brain chemistry changes to crave them. Food number 2 is something millions of Americans eat multiple times per week, thinking it's a decent protein option. And what the World Health Organization found about it is something meat industry lobbying groups have spent millions trying to suppress. Food number 10, sugar-sweetened beverages, soda, sweet tea, fruit drinks. This is the one in the brightly colored bottle or can, often marketed with images of refreshment, energy, or fruit. It's positioned as a treat, a pick-me-up, an accompaniment to meals. The label suggests refreshment, flavor variety, and portion-controlled enjoyment. But according to the American Heart Association, sugar-sweetened beverages are the single largest source of added sugars in the American diet and are directly linked to increased risk of heart disease, obesity, type 2 diabetes, and dental decay. The evidence shows that a single 20-ounce bottle of soda can contain 65 grams of added sugar, more than double the recommended daily maximum for adults and nearly triple the limit for children. According to the AHA, liquid calories don't trigger satiety the same way solid food does, meaning these drinks add calories without making you feel full. So what is this? Doctors who treat patients for metabolic syndrome, diabetes, and heart disease see the direct connection between regular soda consumption and chronic illness. A soda with lunch every day isn't harmless. It's a daily dose of excess sugar that your body can't process efficiently. Bottom line, sugar-sweetened beverages provide zero nutritional value while delivering disease-promoting levels of added sugar. Doctors who understand the research won't touch them, but at least soda is obviously sweet. The next category hides sugar behind savory marketing. Food. Number 9, flavored yogurts, especially low-fat fruit-flavored varieties. This is the one in individual cups with fruit flavors and health claims about probiotics and calcium. It's marketed as a healthy snack, breakfast option, good source of protein. The claim is gut health, protein, calcium, better for you dessert, alternative. But according to the American Heart Association's guidance on added sugars, many flavored yogurts contain 20 to 30 grams of added sugar per serving, nearly as much as ice cream. The evidence shows that manufacturers remove fat to create low-fat versions, then add sugar to compensate for lost flavor and texture. According to the AHA, this creates a product that's worse for metabolic health than full-fat plain yogurt because the sugar drives insulin spikes and doesn't provide satiety. Here's the reality doctors understand. The probiotics and calcium in flavored yogurt don't offset the metabolic impact of 25 grams of added sugar. You're essentially eating sweetened dairy that happens to contain some beneficial bacteria. The real impact is that health-conscious people choose flavored yogurt, thinking they're making smart choices when they're consuming as much sugar as they would in dessert. The health food positioning makes it worse because people eat it regularly without guilt. Verdict: doctors who understand sugar's role in chronic disease eat plain yogurt or none at all. The flavored versions are desserts with health halo, and this brings us to categories where the processing itself becomes the problem. Food number 8, breakfast cereal, especially those marketed to children. This is the one in colorful boxes with cartoon characters, prizes, and health claims about whole grains or vitamins. It's positioned as a quick, nutritious breakfast solution. The label suggests whole grains, fortified with vitamins, part of a complete breakfast. But according to the American Heart Association, many breakfast cereals, especially those marketed to children, contain more sugar per serving than cookies or cake. The evidence shows that cereals marketed to kids average 12 to 15 grams of sugar per serving, and the serving size listed is often unrealistically small. According to the AHA, starting the day with high sugar refined carbohydrates sets up a blood sugar roller coaster that drives hunger, overeating, and energy crashes. Doctors understand that the fortified with vitamins claim is meaningless when the base product is refined grains and sugar. You're essentially eating candy that's been sprayed with synthetic vitamin, which doesn't make it nutritious. So what is this? Children who eat sugary cereal regularly are learning to expect extreme sweetness this at breakfast, training their palates to reject less sweet options, and starting every day with blood sugar spikes. Doctors who understand pediatric nutrition and long-term dietary patterns won't feed this to their own kids. Bottom line, if a cereal contains more than 6 grams of sugar per serving, it's dessert. Doctors who read labels treat it accordingly, but at least cereal is obviously a carbohydrate. The next category deceives with protein claims. Food. Number 7. Processed meat. Alternatives. Fake meat products. This is the one marketed as plant-based, better for the environment, healthier than meat. It's positioned as the future of food, sustainable protein, guilt-free burgers. The claim is plant-based, better for you, better for the planet, cleaner protein. But according to the NIH study on ultra-processed foods, many meat alternatives are heavily processed products, engineered to mimic meat through extensive manipulation of plant proteins, fats, and flavor compounds. The evidence shows that while these products are technically plant-based, they're ultra-processed foods with long ingredient lists including isolated proteins, refined oils, binders, flavors, and coloring. According to the NIH research, ultra-processed foods, regardless of whether they're plant-based, drive overeating and weight gain. Here's what doctors understand. Plant-based doesn't automatically mean healthy. A product made from isolated soy protein, coconut oil, and 20 different additives is not the same as eating actual plants, even if it came from plants originally. The real impact is that people choose these products thinking they're making healthy choices when they're eating ultra-processed food products that happen to be made from plant ingredients instead of animal ingredients. The processing level is the same. Verdict: doctors who understand the difference between plants and plant-based processed foods are skeptical of meat alternatives that require extensive ingredient lists to mimic meat. And now we're entering territory where the evidence becomes harder to ignore. Food number 6. White bread and refined grain products. This is the one that's been a staple of American diets for generations. Soft white bread, white rice, refined pasta. It's positioned as everyday staples, affordable basics, family favorites. The label suggests enriched, fortified, sometimes even made with whole grains, meaning a small percentage. But according to the American Heart Association's guidance on whole grains versus refined grains, refining removes the fiber and nutrients that make grains beneficial, leaving primarily starch. The evidence shows that refined grains are digested rapidly, causing quick blood sugar spikes followed by crashes. According to the AHA, diets high in refined grains are associated with increased risk of type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and weight gain compared to diets rich in whole grains. Doctors understand that enriched means synthetic vitamins were added back after the natural nutrients were removed during processing. You're eating a nutritionally inferior product that's been patched with manufactured nutrients. So what is this? White bread, white rice, and refined pasta provide calories and immediate blood sugar spikes without the fiber that regulates digestion and blood sugar. Doctors who understand glycemic response and metabolic health choose whole grain versions or avoid these products entirely. Bottom line, refined grains are empty calories that drive blood sugar instability. The enriched claim doesn't restore what processing removed, and the pattern is becoming clear. The next food combines multiple problematic elements. Food number 5. Deep-fried foods, especially repeatedly reused oil. This is the category that includes fried chicken, French fries, fried fish, donuts, anything cooked in oil hot enough to create that crispy exterior. It's positioned as comfort food, treats, guilty pleasure. The claim is crispy texture, satisfying flavors, occasional indulgence. But according to the American Heart Association, deep-fried foods are high in calories, saturated in trans fat, especially when oils are reused, and when consumed regularly are associated with increased heart disease risk. The evidence shows that the frying process creates oxidized lipids, and when oils are reused, as in restaurants, can produce trans fats even from oils that started out trans fat-free. According to AHA research, regular consumption of fried foods is linked to increased risk of type 2 diabetes, heart failure, and obesity. Doctors understand that occasional fried food isn't the issue. It's regular consumption, especially from restaurants that reuse oil for cost savings. The degraded, oxidized oil becomes inflammatory. So what is this? That weekly fried chicken dinner or regular fast food fries isn't a harmless treat when consumed routinely. Doctors who understand lipid oxidation and cardiovascular disease avoid fried foods, especially from sources where oil quality is questionable. Bottom line, deep-fried foods provide maximum calories sugars with minimum nutrition, and the frying process creates compounds that promote inflammation and disease. But at least fried food is obviously indulgent. The next category actively markets itself as healthy. Food number 4, granola and granola bars. This is the one in earth tone packaging with images of oats, nuts, and honey. It's marketed as healthy, natural, wholesome energy, better than candy snacking. The claim is whole grains, healthy fats from nuts, natural sweeteners, sustained energy. But according to the American Heart Association's analysis of added sugars, commercial granola and granola bars are often loaded with added sugars, 12 to 15 grams per serving, and use brown rice syrup, honey, or agave to create a health halo while delivering the same glycemic impact as corn syrup. The evidence shows that granola products often contain more sugar per ounce than cookies, but because they're marketed as health food and contain oats and nuts, consumers perceive them as nutritious. According to the AHA, the added sugars undermine any benefit from the whole grains. Here's what doctors understand. Putting honey in a product instead of corn syrup doesn't make it less problematic for blood sugar. Your pancreas responds to sugar regardless of the source, and 15 grams of added sugar is 15 grams too many for a snack. The real impact is that health-conscious people eat granola regularly thinking they're making good choices when they're consuming sugar bombs with a few oats mixed in. The natural and wholesome positioning makes it worse because it encourages regular consumption. Non-verdict. Doctors who understand that natural sweeteners are still added sugars avoid commercial granola. If they eat it at all, they make it themselves with minimal sweetener. And now we're reaching the top 3. Foods where the evidence of harm is substantial enough that doctors won't touch them. Food number 3. Processed meats. Hot dogs, bacon, sausage, deli meat. This is the category that includes breakfast favorites, lunchbox staples, and backyard barbecue classics. It's positioned as protein, convenience, and family-friendly foods. The label suggests protein-rich, quick meal solutions, American classics. But according to the World Health Organization's evaluation, processed meat is classified as carcinogenic to humans, Group 1, meaning there is sufficient evidence that it causes cancer, specifically colorectal cancer. The evidence is substantial. The WHO reviewed more than 800 studies and found that eating 50 grams of processed meat per day, about 2 slices of bacon or 1 hot dog, increases colorectal cancer risk by 18%. According to their analysis, the processing methods, curing, smoking, adding preservatives like nitrites, create compounds that are carcinogenic. Here's what doctors understand that the meat industry doesn't want publicized. This isn't a small risk or uncertain science. The WHO classification puts processed meat in the same carcinogenic category as smoking and asbestos, not because the magnitude of risk is the same, but because the evidence that it causes cancer is similarly conclusive. The so what is devastating? That bacon with breakfast, that deli turkey in your kid's lunchbox, those hot dogs at the ball game? Doctors who understand cancer risk won't eat these regularly because the evidence is too clear. Occasional consumption might be acceptable, but making these foods dietary staples is playing odds that doctors understand too well. Bottom line, processed meats are classified as carcinogenic by the WHO. Doctors who treat cancer patients and understand risk factors avoid them. And we're down to the final 2, foods where doctors are most adamant. Food number 2. Artificially sweetened diet products. This is the category that includes diet sodas, sugar-free candies, artificially sweetened yogurts, and any product using artificial sweeteners like aspartame, sucralose, or saccharin. It's marketed as zero-calorie, sugar-free, diet-friendly. The claim is all the sweetness without the calories. I'm better for weight management, diabetic-friendly. But according to the American Heart Association, the evidence on artificial sweeteners is concerning and contradictory. Some studies suggest they may actually promote weight gain and metabolic dysfunction despite being zero-calorie. The evidence shows that artificial sweeteners may disrupt gut bacteria, alter glucose metabolism, and, according to the AHA, may increase cravings for sweet foods by maintaining preference for intensely sweet flavors without providing the calories the brain expects. Here's what doctors understand. Replacing sugar with artificial sweeteners doesn't solve the underlying problem of overconsumption of sweet food. It maintains the expectation that food should taste extremely sweet while potentially causing metabolic effects that aren't fully understood. The real impact is that people consume diet products thinking they're making healthier choices, but according to research, artificial sweetener consumption is associated with increased risk of metabolic syndrome, the exact condition people are trying to avoid by choosing diet version. Verdict: doctors who understand that the solution to excess sugar isn't artificial substitutes avoid both. They retrain their palates to accept less sweet foods rather than replacing sugar with chemicals. But even artificial sweeteners have some research uncertainty. The number one food has the clearest evidence. Food. Number one, ultra-processed snack foods. Chips, cookies, packaged cakes, candy. This is it. The absolute worst. The entire category of ultra-processed snack foods designed for maximum palatability, shelf stability, and profit margin. It's positioned as treats, snacks, occasional indulgences, portion-controlled options. The label suggests controlled portions, variety, affordable treats, family favorites. But according to the NIH study on ultra-processed foods, these products are engineered to drive overconsumption through specific combinations of sugar, salt, fat, and additives that override natural satiety mechanism. The evidence is damning. In a controlled study where people could eat as much as they wanted, those given ultra-processed foods consumed an average of 500 more calories per day than those given unprocessed food, even though both diets were matched for calories, sugar, fat, fiber, and macronutrient. According to the NIH researchers, this demonstrates that the processing itself, not just the nutritional content, drives overeating. The American Heart Association's research on added sugars shows that these snack foods are primary sources of added sugars in the American diet, often containing 20 to 40 grams per serving of cookies or packaged cakes. Here's what doctors understand that food companies hope you never realize. These products are designed by food scientists specifically to be hyperpalatable, to hit your brain's reward centers in ways that make you want more even when you're not hungry. The sugar-fat-salt combinations are calculated, the texture is engineered, the flavor is optimized, all to make you consume more than you intended. The so what is comprehensive. Doctors who understand food science, addiction neurology, and metabolic disease see these products as engineered substances designed to drive overconsumption. They're not treating them as occasional treats. They're avoiding them entirely because the evidence shows that these foods fundamentally alter eating behavior and metabolism. According to the NIH study, people eating ultra-processed foods gained an average of 2 pounds in just 2 weeks, while those eating unprocessed foods lost 2 pounds, despite being allowed to eat as much as they wanted in both groups. This isn't about willpower. This is about foods specifically engineered to override your body's ability to regulate intake. Bottom line, ultra-processed snack foods are the foods doctors are most adamant about avoiding because the evidence shows they drive overeating, weight gain, and metabolic dysfunction regardless of portion control attempts. These aren't foods. They're food-like products designed to maximize consumption and profit. Outro. Bottom line. The foods doctors refuse to eat aren't exotic or unusual. They're everyday staples in most American households. The difference is that doctors who understand the research on added sugars, ultra-processed foods, and processed meats make different choices based on evidence rather than marketing. According to the American Heart Association, NIH research, and WHO evaluations, the foods we've covered are linked to increased risk of obesity, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and cancer when consumed regularly. These aren't scare tactics. These are conclusions from decades of research across millions of people. You don't have to eliminate these foods entirely, but you should understand what the evidence says about regular consumption and make informed decisions rather than assuming that if something is sold in a grocery store, it must be reasonably safe to eat daily. So here's my question. Which of these foods are you eating regularly right now? Comment honestly. No judgment, just curiosity about the gap between what we know and what we actually do. If this video changed how you think about everyday foods, hit subscribe. Tomorrow we're exposing the marketing tricks food companies use to make unhealthy products seem healthy. And trust me, the psychological manipulation is sophisticated. See you then.